Hi, I'm Derek Melber, Technical Evangelist for the AD Solutions team here at ManageEngine. In this video, I wanted to go over the foundational concepts of user rights. Now, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about kind of the default user rights, as well as how to report on user rights. Now, by default within Active Directory, there are, of course, two default group policy objects. Now, group policy is the way that we deploy user rights to domain controllers, servers, and desktops within Active Directory. Now, the default domain policy doesn't have anything with regard to user rights in it, but the domain controllers organizational unit has the default domain controllers policy. And if we edit this group policy object and head down to where user rights are defined under our security settings, we'll see that we have user rights assignments configured automatically. Now, these are defined by Microsoft at the onset of Active Directory. Now, of course, these configurations can change depending on the different applications that you install within your organization. Now, sometimes applications will update the default domain controllers policy, but other times it will create new group policy objects linking the GPO to the correct location within Active Directory. As you can see, there are quite a few predefined user rights for your domain controllers. Now, what these user rights do is they define which groups, and of course the members of those groups, have elevated privileges over the domain controllers in certain areas. So for example, who can log on locally? Well, only those that have high aspects with regard to privileges can log on locally. Now, as you can see here, I've messed around with this GPO and added HR directors, and that was just me adding that in. But this is an important point, which is you need to verify who has access to these user rights. I've categorized the user rights really into two different categories. There's about 15 user rights that have pretty significant privileges that we need to maintain and make sure we know who has those privileges. The others, yes, those are privileges, but typically the ramifications aren't nearly as high as some of the others. Obviously, log on locally is one, backing up files and directories, changing the time zone, changing the system time, shutting down the system, and the like. Now, in order to make sure that we know who has the correct user rights on a system, we really can't use group policy for that because I can have a multitude of group policy objects that are configuring my user rights. So instead of using group policy, I suggest you use a built-in tool called SECPoll, SECPoll.msc. Now, SECPoll is a built-in application to every single Windows computer, and what SECPoll does is it displays the actual settings that are on the system. It doesn't just give you information with regard to group policy, it tells you what the system settings are regardless of where the settings came from. Now, in this particular GUI, we can determine where the settings came from, whether it be the local configuration or group policy. And that's based on this icon over here. This registry-based icon means that that setting was done locally. And this scroll on two computers, this means that it came from group policy in Active Directory. This allows us to view the settings and therefore analyze what we have within the settings. If you want to get a printout of this, you can right-click and you can export this list. This would give you a text-based output of what these settings are, so you can document and then analyze your user rights. As you can see, configuring user rights is important, as well as knowing how to get the information out of the system. This has been Derek Melber. Thanks for watching.